Breaking news today. The Ukrainian crisis has Putin's military fighting for its life. Ukrainian fears have suddenly spread to Moscow, Sochi, Pskov, and even Sevastopol for an audacious encore performance over the weekend. Kyiv was able to destroy the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters in the Crimean port city despite Washington's continued refusal to approve ATACMS and other precision deep strike weapon systems. Ukraine has once again proven that any problem can be solved if one is creative, flexible, and persistent enough. The historic structure was destroyed by air-launched Storm Shadow cruise missiles that the United Kingdom had supplied to Ukraine. Ukraine claimed that up to 34 officers were killed in the attack, which may have included Fleet Commander Admiral Viktor Sokolov. However, a video purportedly showing him after the strike surfaced on Russian state-controlled media. It's been reported that 105 more servicemen were injured. The Kalino airfield in Russia's Kursk Oblast was the target of a similar attack by the Ukrainian military. According to the Kyiv Independent, the strike claimed the lives of the commander of the 14th Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment, as well as one of his deputies, an intelligence officer, and a group of aviator officers and airbase employees. In Verbov, where Ukraine is reportedly fielding light armor behind Moscow's second defensive belt as Kyiv presses south, on far-off airfields, and now in the Crimean Peninsula itself, Russian President Vladimir Putin's armed forces must be feeling exposed. Against Ukrainian-made drones and Storm Shadow cruise missiles, Russia's once vaunted S-300 and S-400 air defense systems are failing miserably. They haven't been able to protect their own system platforms and munition stores, and they haven't been able to provide air defense support to Russian military facilities in Russia and Crimea. Ukraine has conducted deep strikes against Russian surface-to-air missile batteries twice in the past 30 days. Crimea's S-400 air defense system near Olenivka was destroyed in late August, along with the launcher, its accompanying missiles, and the personnel operating the system. The second S-400, S-300, and radar equipment were destroyed by aerial drones and modified Neptune cruise missiles on September 15 off the coast of Yevpatoria. Russian military units and government institutions are not being given safe haven by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his generals. And rightly so. Senior Russian officers, government officials, and the inner circle of the Kremlin are increasingly at risk as Kyiv advances its development of weapon systems with extended operational reach. Ukraine can easily reach the Kremlin, Moscow proper, Sochi, the Pskov airbase, the Dyagolevo military airfields in the Ryazan region, and the Engels airbase in the Saratov region. Russian civilians are now seeing the effects of Putin's war on their doorsteps, beaches, and city streets, and it's not just the soldiers in the front lines who are suffering. Military leaders now consider Crimea to be in a untenable position. The Russian military headquarters are at risk due to a lack of air defenses. Supply, ammunition, and fuel depots continue to be lucrative targets for Ukrainian deep strikes, putting at risk the bridges, seaports, and airports used to sustain the war. In a bold move against the Sergo-Ordzhonikidze shipyard's dry docks in Sevastopol, Ukraine launched an extensive assault with 10 cruise missiles and 3 unmanned boats 2 weeks ago. Both the Rostov-on-Don, a diesel-electric submarine, and the Minsk, a large landing ship, suffered heavy damage. Because of this, a crisis of confidence in the Russian military is developing, as soldiers lose faith in their leaders, their weapons, their government, and themselves. On the battlefield, the need for basic survival and safety has risen to the top of the hierarchy, surpassing even the need to win the war. The Russian military has started to turn on itself. The Kyiv Post claims that Moscow's inability to pay salaries on time to its naval servicemen facilitated the attack on the Black Sea Fleet headquarters. According to the Kyiv Post, the partisan group Atesh, which is made up of Ukrainians and Crimean Tatars, claims to have obtained key information about the location and activities of high-ranking Russian commanders from cash-strapped officers in exchange for financial rewards, from Russians who believe their country is waging a criminal war and that it needs to stop. The Ukrainian Security Service received the report quickly so that they could take appropriate action. Putin's army has many members who are losing hope. Russian artillerymen, reported to be from the 1442nd Regiment, stationed in the Ukrainian village of Klishchivka near Bakhmut, have reportedly deserted or committed suicide. They were converted from artillery to infantry and sent back into battle without preparation when their supply ran out. In a video, they said, "We are getting out of there, one way or another, because choosing to fight would mean guaranteed death," expressing their anger at having to fight with dud weapons and ammunition. In response to this fundamental requirement for survival in Russia, Ukraine has launched the I Want to Live hotline project. The Ukraine Ministry of Defense and the Ukraine Main Directorate of Intelligence support the program, which is managed by the coordinating headquarters for the treatment of prisoners of war. The Guardian reported in late January 2023 that 6,543 Russian personnel contacted the Ukrainian government to surrender themselves into their custody, often from the front line. More than 25,000 Russian troops have asked to surrender as of September 19. However, only 216 have actually done so. Putin has been knocked out cold. The growing sense of Russian vulnerability and impending doom will likely be amplified if NATO introduces HIMARS-delivered cluster munitions, ATACMS, F-16 fighter jets, and the German Taurus cruise missile. Also, it would make Putin feel exposed and vulnerable.